Well, hi everybody out there in YouTube land. It's me and Gaylord coming at you deep within the bunker during our quarantine. Anyway, so I was thinking today, it's Easter Sunday, and I was kind of happy Easter, by the way. And thanks for all the new subscribers and for my friends that donated to the channel this month. Thank you very much. Anyway, I got to thinking today, I kind of got reflective about the last 3 years that I've lived here and being retired and how I pulled the trigger. I was thinking about my state of mind today as opposed to my state of mind 3 years ago when I retired at the age of 62. And I pulled the trigger as quick as humanly possible on my Social Security. And I was thinking about whether or not that was a good idea or not. And I've never really doubted my decision because for a number of factors. And I'll go over them with you just in case you want to know. And again, this is what I did. This is not what you should do. I try not to give anyone advice. I just like to reflect back on what I did, tell you about it, and then allow you to draw your own conclusion from it. So at the end of the day, when I was nearing my retirement age, just to catch you up if you're a new subscriber, I hadn't amassed any wealth by the time I turned 62 and could collect my Social Security. I had amassed wealth prior, about 5 years prior, and then lost it all in the recession. So, and I just felt like at the age of 57 or 58, whatever I was, that was just too late in life to try to acquire it again. I had listened to all the proverbial wisdom of the time. And I invested my energy and my resources and my money primarily in real estate. And also about 90% went into real estate. And then about 10% went into my 401k. And there was a substantial amount of money in that. And then when the recession came, it just poof, went up in the wind. And so getting through that was a very, very difficult time. There was a lot going on. There was the loss of my nest egg and basically my retirement money. There was the loss of self-esteem, self-worth, loss of employment, loss of possessions. So I pretty much got zeroed out. And I struggled for those last 4, 5, 6 years, whatever it was. I honestly don't remember. Just to kind of stay above water, just to wake up every day and be able to put one foot in front of the other, keep my sanity, try to put some food on the table. I lived a very, very kind of desperate lifestyle, trying to just keep it together. And attitude was sinking at an all-time low. Anyway, that being said, by the time the end was getting near, things had improved. I had acquired a condominium. I had bought it. Again, I bought it. You have to have a place to live. And I bought it really cheap. It was at the bottom of the recession, pricey still, even 4 years later. And so I had a little job, and I was making a little bit of money, and I was super unhappy with my situation. There was absolutely nothing that excited me. I had no connections really to family any longer. My kids had all scattered into the wind. I didn't have any kind of significant relationship with anyone, male or female. Work was not rewarding at all. I had gone down 4 or 5 pegs on the ladder, if you will, and there just wasn't any opportunities left. I felt like, you know, when I was in my 30s, I had all these opportunities, and then it just sort of narrowed down as every decade was getting squeezed. And so money-making opportunities were really not there, but primarily my mental state of mind was already gone. I'd already been to Thailand. I'd already been overseas. I already knew I wanted to come to Southeast Asia. And I felt like I was just, again, I'll use the phrase, every day was Groundhog Day. I woke up, I went to work, I stopped off at Jack in the Box and sat down in front of the TV and watched some mind-numbing show while I wolfed down dinner. And I got up the next day and did it all over again. And I just didn't see the point. You know, all I was doing was trying to prop myself up and pay some bills and have a bite to eat and pray that there was something good on TV. And I figured there's got to be more to life than that. So conventional wisdom was telling me, everyone was saying that the biggest mistake you can make is to pull your Social Security early, that you should wait, because you'll never get this kind of return on your money again. It grows by 6% a year, and every year that you wait, you accumulate all this, that, and the other, and bippity boppity boop. Well, I got a couple problems with that. Three problems with that, and I'll share with you what they are. Number one, I don't know how long I'm going to live, right? So I think that I needed to take into consideration my general health at the time, my general mental health, emotional health, and physical health. And my physical health was really deteriorating. And I believe that was led by my emotional and mental deteriorational health also. You know, your attitude has an awful lot of an effect, either positive or negative, on your body, on my body, I should say. I have found that to be true. I don't know if that happens to you or not. I just know it happens to me. And there was bouts of loneliness, depression, sadness, all these negative emotions, kept dwelling on, you know, what had gone wrong and this, that, the other. In other words, I kept looking back as opposed to looking forward. And then as retirement age approached and the ability to pull in that free check every month, not really free, I earned every nickel, but you get where I'm coming from. I don't have to put out any energy to make that money. It just shows up every month. That was something that I could now look forward to, and I actually started to see a little light at the end of the tunnel. And so here's the deal. Why would I pull the trigger at 62 if everything and everyone was telling me to wait? Well, I mentioned that I didn't know when I was going to die. So let's just say that I died at the age of 64. I had pulled it at the age of 63. What good did that extra 120 bucks do me for 12 months? Zero. And I can't tell you that I would still be sitting here if I had stayed in the States. I honestly don't know. That's just a true fact. I honestly don't know. But I suspect that I would be in a much worse shape physically, mentally, and emotionally had I had tried to gut it out for a few bucks. The other thing was that all the conventional wisdom in the past had told me to put my money into real estate, that you can't go wrong there. It's got a 50-year, 60-year track record. And it was proven to be true, man. I mean, it was appreciated. I put 90% of all my resources that I earned into real estate. The other 10% went into 401k. And when the recession came, that just got smoked and went up into the air, poof. And so conventional wisdom was no longer impressing me. And so when the conventional wisdom was telling me, well, you should wait because of bop, 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 I just threw that out the window because I said, no, I'm not going to listen to them anymore. They were wrong before, and I think they're wrong now. And then just the logic of money and math, because liars figure, but figures never lie. And so I'll use this number. This is what I used in my own little head. My own little reptilian brain managed to crunch this out. Was, let's just say I'm getting $1,000 a month in Social Security. Actually, my budget here is $1,500, so I get closer to that. But for simplicity's sake, we're going to just use the number 1,000. $1,000 a month is what I'm going to receive from Social Security. And if I wait a year, I'll get $1,120 because I get $10 a month, excuse me, more if I wait till I'm 63. So there's an extra 120 bucks a month, right? That's good. And it goes on forever or until I die. And so that's the one anomaly. We don't know, I don't know when I'm going to die and no longer be able to get those benefits. But the other thing is what happened to that 1 year? What happened to that money I could have been collecting? Well, if I collected $1,000 a month for a year, that's $12,000 that I did receive. And I said, you know what? I'm allowed to earn something like $17,800 without penalty. So why would I walk away from that money? Because if I walk away from $12,000, but I get a $120 raise, how many months do I have to go until that $120 adds up to $12,000? How many years will that take to recoup that money that I've literally walked away from? I could have been collecting. And that's exactly what I did. I collected it on day one. The day that I could get it, I got it. And I did the filing. I waited like a month and a half, 2 months, something like that, before the first check hit the bank. And during the interim, I worked up until, I think I earned about $15,000 or $16,000. I think I was earning $3,000 or $4,000 a month at that time. And so I worked for 3 or 4 or 5 months, something like that, while collecting my Social Security. I kept an eye on it, and that money was all going into my little savings account to give me a cushion for when I did pull the trigger, buy a ticket, and retire full-time over here in Southeast Asia. My other consideration, plan B, plan C, if you want to call it that, was as I investigated, the rules of Social Security, I actually have the opportunity. I could do it today. I could put my Social Security on hold. I could stop taking benefits. I would just lose the benefits that I would receive, but I wouldn't lose my Social Security. I wouldn't get any increases if I put it on hold, but I could stop drawing it, because on the outside chance that I had an opportunity to go back home or go over here or go over there and start knocking down 6 figures again, well then great. I'll just put it on hold, because I don't want to commingle the funds. I don't want to get into the penalties. I don't want to do this and that and the other. So that's an option. In other words, I could still go back to work if an opportunity presented itself, and it's as if I had never drawn it. It's just ready to rock and roll when I turn the light switch back on. So I like that idea. But getting back to that $12,000, that's a lot of cash. And I was able to work on top of that. And then I came over here, and by coming over here, I now had a savings account. I now had money in my pocket, and I had a monthly income. And since I have been over here, my attitude has done a 180. I'm totally happy. I'm never bored. I don't feel like it's Groundhog Day at all. Quite the contrary. When I came over here, I was taking 5 different medications. I was taking one for blood pressure. I was taking one for cholesterol. I was taking a baby aspirin. Because I'd had a heart attack in 2010. I was taking Xanax to get to sleep, and I was taking Loratab for pain. Today, as we sit here and speak to one another, this is how many medications I take. I take 0. One of the first things to go was the blood pressure. I didn't have any episodes anymore of flushness or anything. My blood pressure is perfect. The baby aspirin, I stopped taking that because it was kind of starting to chew me up a little bit. And I talked to a doctor out here, actually a dermatologist of all things. And she told me, she said, you know what, the studies have shown that may not be all that beneficial. In fact, it might be doing more harm than good to the rest of your body. So I took that with a grain of salt, but I just quit taking it. I got tired of putting medications in my body. The cholesterol thing went way down. I think that's because I get more exercise out here, and it's not necessarily diet, but for whatever reason, I had that checked a number of times. Every time I went to the doctor, I had that checked. Not every time, but most of the time. And Then the last was the Loratab for pain. I simply ran out of those, and you can't get them over here because they're like a class C or something drug. And I went through a couple of 3 days of heebie-jeebies because of withdrawal things. And that was that. Now, just an occasional ibuprofen will take care of the little aches and pains that I do have. Again, I had been prescribed by Big Brother, you know, along with the rest of the herd, to take all these drugs and pills and everything else because we all need that, right? The last was a Xanax that I took. I came out here and I was taking 2 Xanax a day back in the States a night for panic disorder, sleep disorder, this disorder, that disorder, anxiety, wah, wah, wah. And by the time 2 years passed here in the Philippines, I've been out here 3, I was down to half the Xanax, from 2 to 1 to a half, and then to none. And because I ran out one day. And again, I just gutted it out. I had a couple of weird nights, you know, for 2 or 3 nights, and that's over with. So we're going to go back to when will I die? I think now I'm going to live a whole lot longer than if I had stayed in the States. I think it would have been a double-edged sword. I think that I would have if I had stayed in the States, I would have gotten an increase in my money, and I don't think I would have lived to see it. That's what happened to me. All right, guys. Peace out. Happy, happy, happy Easter. He is risen. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.